My name is Robbins, and I'm CEO and co-founder of the Food Revolution Network. We're a 250,000 member education and advocacy community standing up for healthy, sustainable, humane, and delicious food for everyone. We organize online telesummits, online courses. We have campaigns fighting for GMO labeling, standing up to get routine use of antibiotics out of factory farms, standing up to get subsidies eliminated for commodities crops, so we stop subsidizing high fructose corn syrup and factory farmed animal products, and start directing, if we're going to direct taxpayer dollars to anything, we want to direct them to subsidizing healthy food for low-income communities, so we can start to reverse the health ailments instead of fueling them with taxpayer money. The Food Revolution Network is standing up for healthy policy, and we're also standing up for people being informed. We want you to have the knowledge that you need so that you can thrive. My grandfather founded an ice cream company called Robbins. My dad grew up with an ice cream cone-shaped swimming pool in the backyard and 31 flavors of ice cream in the freezer. He was groomed to one day join in running the family company. But when he was in his early 20s, he was offered that chance, and he said no. His uncle Bert Baskin, my grandpa's brother-in-law and business partner, was dying of heart disease. My dad's Uncle Bert was one of the most successful entrepreneurs in US history. He had incredible wealth, he had a family he loved, but he didn't have his health, and he left his wife a widow and his kids fatherless. My dad said, hey, I don't want to spend my life selling a product that's going to contribute to more people getting sick and dying. So he ended up walking away from the family company and from a path that was practically paved with gold and ice cream to, as we say in my family, follow his own rocky road. Over the years, my dad ended up becoming a best-selling author. He wrote books about food and health. My grandpa ended up with serious diabetes and heart disease and weight issues, and his doctors told him he had only a few years to live unless he read this book, and they handed him a copy of my dad's bestseller, Diet for a New America, which my grandpa read. He changed his diet, he gave up ice cream, he ate a lot more vegetables, he lost 30 pounds, and he got off his medications. He ended up living another 20 more healthy years. Around that time, I was running marathons starting at the age of 10. I founded a bakery called Ocean's Bakery where I sold natural baked goods door to door around the neighborhood. And I was passionate about the work that my dad had started. We've seen in our own family what can happen when we eat the standard American diet, and we've seen what can happen when we make a change. When I was 16 years old, I founded a nonprofit organization called Yes, and we traveled the country speaking to school assemblies about the environment and social justice and how youth could be leaders in making the world a better place. We reached more than 650,000 students in schools across the US, and then we started working globally. We organized these leadership events we called jams for groups of leaders from all over the planet. We worked with leaders in over 65 countries. I've facilitated dialogues between Israelis and Palestinians and Syrians and Iranians in the deserts of Jordan. I facilitated peacemaking dialogues between blacks and whites in the southern United States. I've worked with a lot of different communities. And what I've seen is that everywhere I've gone, everybody eats. And as I traveled the world, I saw that the American diet and the American lifestyle were being exported all over the planet, and people are dying because of it. All over the world, we're seeing more and more McDonald's and Coca-Cola and junk food and processed food. As people are leaving their traditional diets and their traditional ways of life, their waistlines are expanding, their disease rates are going up, and their life expectancy is actually going down. When I think about the future that my kids are going to grow up into, it gives me a whole new perspective on life. Because now I'm not just thinking about the next few years, I'm thinking about the next generation and the generations to come after that. And it fills me with this deep sense of commitment and passion, because I want my kids to have a healthy world to live in. I want them to have a stable climate. I want them to have drinking water. I want them to have a healthy planet. And you know what? What we eat doesn't just affect us here and now. It affects the future viability of our species to be able to live on this planet. What we eat affects whether or not we're going to have water, whether or not we're going to have a climate that's stable. And so I'm so passionate about food because I want my kids and your kids to have a healthy world when they grow up. We've gotten to interview people like Paul McCartney and Dr. Jane Goodall and many other inspiring, brilliant leaders. And for me, the opportunity to learn from them has been extraordinary. Because as we've had these conversations, as we've interviewed them and then shared their voices with hundreds of thousands of people around the world, I have seen how much we know. There's this myth that healthy eating is confusing, that everybody's pointing in different directions and no one knows what to do. You know something? That's been a manufactured myth. We've got a media that is basically thinking that anything that they've already said can't be said again. So sensationalism rules the day. We've got a food industry that is profiting off of people being confused. We've got a healthcare industry that is profiting off of people being sick. And we've got a political establishment that is fundamentally more accountable to donors than to voters. And you know who are the donors? Are the people who are profiting from the status quo. So in this context, what's more important than ever is that you and I get informed, get empowered, so we can truly take our health and our food choices into our own hands. The beauty of the food revolution is we don't have to wait for McDonald's or Coca-Cola or the US government in order to take a stand, to take action, and to be healthy. We can claim our health right here and right now.